legendary cinema actress Christine Hakim about Cut Nyak Dien, one of the classics being preserved,
Yes, we did.
restored, and being played again in movie theaters. But speaking of theaters, when is the last time you've been there?
Well, it's been a long time, more than a year.
Longer than
now,
long.
I'm not really afraid of going back. It's just that not managing the right time yet. But
Okay.
I reiterate, I'm not afraid of going to the cinema now.
Well, can't wait to go back.
Okay then. Well, some restrictions have been lifted for cinema industry. So new movies are now coming in. And the question is it still profitable? And are people coming back to the cinema? We are going to discuss this tonight with our cinema industry analyst, Mas Sigit Prabowo. Mas Sigit Prabowo, how are you? Good to have you join us on Asia Prime, Mas Sigit.
Thank you for having me here. I'm feeling healthy, vaccinated, and optimistic.
All right, so Mas Sigit, how are the numbers? Do you see, based on the data that you have, are we seeing a lot of numbers coming back to watch the cinema so far?
Yes, to put that into perspective, our cinema industry has only been started reopening since late September 2020, and is now gradually and very slowly ramping up on both showtimes and capacity. As you can see, I have a chart here that shows that from December 2020 until yesterday, basically, we have grown from 2,000 shows per day up to 5,500 shows per day. Now, that may sound a lot, but that is a far cry from what we have in the pre-pandemic times, which was around 10,000 plus shows per day. So we are operating at about 55% of number of shows, coupled with 50% of seat capacity, which means that the effective capacity is still under 30%. But having said that, from December until now, at least 8 million tickets have been sold, and people are now really coming back to the cinemas, especially in the past month or so, as we have now just seen two very recent movies, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, and A Quiet Place Part 2, breaking 1 million admission. I have seen both in the cinemas, for the record.
So what kind of movies that were the so-called champion of the box office during the pandemic era, both Indonesian films and foreign films?
Yeah, there's clearly a pattern emerging if you look at the movies that are successful during this pandemic reopening era. The highest grossing or highest admission now is by the way, the chart shows the total number of shows. The 20 top movies has number of shows. It doesn't show the number of admissions, but it does show. It does give you an idea of how the market is going. The highest, the top grossing movies during the pandemic reopening. First is the two I just mentioned, Conjuring 3 and A Quiet Place 2, and then followed by Godzilla vs. Kong and Mortal Kombat, and followed by rather surprised, Doraemon, Stand By Me, Doraemon 2, and then Wonder Woman. And on the 7th is a Demon Slayer, Mugen Train. There is a pattern here. I think that people come to the cinema because they see a familiar IP, they want to see spectacle, and they want to, a bit of star power doesn't help, familiarity. Just like Mortal Kombat, which was very successful here because our own homeboy Joe Taslim was in there, and many people come to see him having a very important role in the movies. So that's what people are coming to the movies for. But also, I would like to underline that there is a very strong market for Indonesian films as well. Two Indonesian films of note that I can highlight here. First is Asih 2. Released back in December 2020, it now has more admissions than Cruella and Raya and the Last Dragon, both Disney movies. While another Indonesian movie, Tarian Lengger Maut, which was released during Lebaran holiday, which is recently, that also had admission number higher than Raya and the Last Dragon. So the fact that the top seven at the moment does not contain Indonesian movies doesn't mean that the market is not there. Clearly, the interest is not there. It's just not that the premium Indonesian products are out yet, and we are hoping to see them in the cinemas very soon in the later parts of 2021.
Mas Sigit, I am so excited that you've mentioned all the exciting movies for us to watch, and of course come to the cinema, experience a difference if we watch it on TV. Very excited, but what advice can you give to the movie industry to keep up the momentum for people to, to be more or still excited to come to the cinema?
Yeah, I think now is the right time where basically all the stars are aligned. I mean, when Wonder Woman was released in December, people were still hesitant to go to the movies. Although the movie is definitely interesting, it interested a lot of people. But like you said, probably some had doubts about the health protocols implemented in the cinemas. But now, looking at that number, 8 million tickets sold since December. And to my knowledge, I'm not the health expert here, but as to my knowledge, there is no COVID case outbreak coming out of the cinemas. I think it goes to say that the health protocols implemented in the cinema are sufficient to guarantee safety for people coming into the cinemas. And also, I think the cinema operators here, the exhibitors, are constantly trying to engage with the audience, trying to entice them to bring them back to the cinemas, and this coincides with the rest of the world as well, where all basically cinema are waking up from the long COVID slumber, and very interesting blockbuster movies will be released one after another. So I guarantee you, people will have a busy time in the cinemas, even until 2022. Because of this, a huge backlog of products that has been delayed since the COVID outbreak early 2020. It's now formed a long logjam, which is kind of good because it provides us with endless options in the cinemas in the very coming months.
All right, that's what we hope to see. But since people are creatures of habit, many movie watchers, me included, and I bet Fifi as well, been sitting at home, and Mas Sigit probably as well, watching on the small screen or on a TV screen, all the so-called streaming platforms, endless shows to watch. So how can we be ensured that we would like to break that habit and go back to the so-called old habit from last year and buy our tickets, lining up there, and then go back to the theaters?
Well, for once, some of simply the material and the experience you wouldn't get. For example, another blockbuster coming up this Wednesday, The Fast and the Furious 9, is simply something built for a big screen experience. It's just something that you cannot really experience at home because all the audio quality and the immersive experience of the sound and sight is something that you cannot really replicate at home, even I believe with the most expensive equipment that you have at home. And also horror movies like The Conjuring 3, horror movies has long been known as a very communal experience, and that's something that you really, it's very hard to replicate that at home. Having a great experience like a roller coaster type of experience with all the audience in a dark room in a cinema, where your attention is purely focused on the screen, immersed by the magic and not distracted by anything you can have at home. Suddenly, where at home you're still watching your streaming services, and suddenly somebody ring your doorbell to send a package or your online food order.
Well, definitely really it's going to be different watching something, like Conjuring around with your big family around you, calling you for dinner or something. So definitely different. Okay, then. Mas Sigit Prabowo, thank you so much for your perspective. Stay safe and take care.
All right, interesting. what Sigit mentioned again reiterated the experience of being in the movie theaters, which somewhat you cannot get that while you're in the comforts of your homes. You like to scream together at the screen during Conjuring or any of the.
Not listening someone interrupting you.